This video is sponsored by EA because I was ad gifted with a limited time early access to the brand new expansion, which is of course Adventure Awaits. I'm so sorry that I didn't even really talk about this video in my last one. I know I've been getting loads of comments like, girl, are you going to be doing a Creator Sim overview? I watch your Creator Sim overviews all the time. I need to know what's coming in Creator Sim. So I apologize to those of you who thought this was up in the air. You can always count on me for a Creator Sim overview is all I'm gonna say of any new content that we get in The Sims 4. Creator Sim is my passion. Like a Bratz doll, I have a passion for virtual fashion, and I am here to give all of my thoughts on Creator Sim, obviously show you like an overview of all of the assets that are gonna be coming to every single age range. But before we get into the fashion side of things, I do want to talk about the personality side of things, because we did actually get two new aspirations, one for adult Sims, one for children's Sims. We also got a new trait, and then we also got some likes and dislikes. So let's check out those first. Now, I did speak about the aspirations in my gameplay overview, but the adult one is called Critter Hunter. It's under the nature aspiration. We've been getting quite a lot of nature ones recently. I'm fairly sure this might be now like the biggest category that we have for aspirations when you obviously have like other packs installed, but this pretty much focuses on some of the new activities that you can do in this pack. So you need to collect butterflies, you need to examine butterflies, release butterflies, put them in the habitat that you can buy for your home. Also some fishing, you have to get your archery up to level 4 to be able to bow fish, and then you also have to craft some stuff using the new paper crafting item and the new skill, which is actually a level 10 skill. All the other skills are level 5, paper crafting is level 10, and then the reward for this, you're actually able to chat to butterflies and fish that you have in bowls, in case you ever wanted to do that, and then you unlock some romantic interactions that are actually inspired by butterflies. Now, I personally did have a few issues with ticking off some of these, especially the like go fishing with a buddy. I could actually only do that with a household sim. I do know that the ticking off and like some of the stuff to do with the aspiration was flagged to the team, so fingers crossed they are sorted before release so that you can play with this aspiration. But you do have to complete the butterfly collection, I'm fairly sure, which could take you a little while because those are available in specific places after you've done certain quests or you go to particular festivals. So I do think you are going to have to pay attention whilst completing that collection. I kind of like it when they are a little bit more interactive than just like, hey, go out to all these random places and you'll be able to find them, no trouble. Then we have the competitive trait. Now this pretty much just like brings a couple of new reactions to when your sim loses a game. They can also, when they're doing like activities, you will actually notice this on your sims in their icon, they can get sweaty. So if they're like working out or they're playing a game, something that is like kind of competitive, you will notice that they will have like sweat beads on them. However, they also do have a competitive spirit. Now this can be seen in their like personality panel near all of their traits, and they can have like a good competitive spirit or a bad competitive spirit, and then if it goes too far in one direction, it can be excellent. Too far in the other direction, it becomes abysmal. You can then choose to freeze that competitive spirit if you want to. And I will say, whilst I wasn't focusing on this, it didn't really fluctuate all that much. I feel like every competitive sim started with like bad competitive spirit from the get-go. However, if you do focus on the interactions linked to this, so you can like encourage like healthy competitive spirit, you can overreact to a win, which of course makes you more of like a sore winner, sore loser type situation, or you can react like quite nicely to winning. There are positive interactions you can do and more negative ones. Obviously more negative will bring you towards that abysmal range, and doing better ones will take you to that excellent competitive spirit. But all that really does is show new animations when you win or lose. If you are like in the abysmal competitive spirit, you will glow or you will be a really sore loser. If you are in excellent, then you'll be really polite to your opponents. That trait is available for both adults and children. Also, the 4 different activities are part of the likes and dislikes when it comes to your interests. So you can like or dislike archery, diving, entomology, and paper crafting, which are all new skills. Like I said, archery, diving, and entomology are all a level 5 skill. Paper crafting is the only level 10 skill introduced. Again, children can have those likes and dislikes. They can have all 4 of them. They can do all 4 of those things. And then they also have the new aspiration of cool kid on the block, which the reward trait for completing this is coolest kid, which will actually make it easier for your sim to make friends, and also winning will be easier for them in like anything competitive that you do. That includes, I'm fairly sure, hide and seek, rock, paper, scissors that are introduced in this new pack. Also, there's like a blick block challenge that you can start. I didn't really test this out with like video games, or I guess I could test it out in the cross-pack compatibility when it comes to like the get-together foosball table. But all winning really does, if you're not trying to win against Buddy to get collectibles, is gives you a moodlet. I think the making easier friends is the more important side of this, and this is made up from basically making friends, making best friends forever, getting up your social skill as a child, completing any collection that you have in your game, and also winning games of like rock, paper, scissors, and finding 5 sims when you play hide and seek. Gonna start off with the feminine creator sim first. So in total we have 9 hairs. One of them, however, is locked. That is locked behind the evil imaginary friend, the like pegacorn that we have. Then we have 6 new hats. 3 of them are just accessible from the get-go. However, 3 of them are unlocks. One of them is from an imaginary friend, the goofball one. One is actually from paper crafting, and it's a mask. And then the other is through the career, obviously for adult and above. I don't actually know if teenagers then get access to that hat, or if it just unlocks for teenagers if you do happen to have an adult in the household go up in that career. Then there are 5 head accessories. 3 of those are earrings. Lesbians, you'll be happy to know. We have carabiner earrings, which is never a sentence I thought I would say in a Sims video, but makes me laugh that we do have a couple of trousers with carabiners on, but it's not like its own accessory. But now you can have them dangling from your ears if you want to. 1 set of glasses, which are kind of like a sporty kind of cycling glasses. I assume it's made for like the spin bike, even though you're not really getting any wind affecting you on a spin bike. And 1 is a necklace, which I'm fairly sure is a whistle, but correct me if I am wrong on that. It could also maybe be like a bird caller. I didn't look into it in too much depth. Then we have 19 tops for feminine sims. 2 of them are unlocks. 1 is from the career, 1 is from an imaginary friend. 11 bottoms, 9 full body outfits. 6 of them are there from the get-go, and 3 of them are imaginary friend unlocks. 6 accessories. 3 of those are bracelets, but 2 of them are unlocks, and they're actually just like guards for your forearms if you are into archery and you get up your archery skill. Then 2 gloves, which are both unlocks. Again, they're like archery gloves, and 1 pair of socks, maybe my new favorite socks in the game, and 4 shoes in total, making the total for feminine sims 69 objects introduced in Adventure Awaits Creator Sim. Overall, I will say the vibes of this Creator Sim are definitely like active / outdoors wear, and also a little bit of water sports thrown in there, because there are a couple of life jackets that you can actually have, so definitely more so for your active sims. However, I will say they do feel very basic. If you kind of have packs that already focus on like being outdoors, and also a lot of like leisure wear, which we do already have in The Sims 4, even in packs that aren't really focused too much on sports, we do still have a lot of like active wear and leisure wear. This is kind of just complementing that. I think some of my personal favorites, especially from the feminine creator sim, are the camp t-shirts. So kind of like that layered one with the long sleeve underneath underneath it. I feel like we don't get an awful lot of like layered tops like that. Maybe that's also just because I'm a 90s kid who also had like a brother who was a skater, and I was really into those kind of clothes when I was younger. And also like the little like oversized t-shirt. It's very basic though. I wouldn't say that this Create Sim is anything like too inspirational. There's very much like bare bones. Even if you don't maybe have your Sims be into like active fitness stuff, then you could just wear these at home when you're like cleaning around the house. The bottoms for me personally, I think are the most lackluster. We obviously have a couple of pair of leggings. We also have some like not great like skirts. They are kind of different. I guess they're more like active wear skirts. I do quite like the skort because I feel like we don't have very many skorts. But then the other trousers are just kind of those like zip like rip off outdoorsy trousers that I feel like we have in Outdoor Retreat. I feel like we have some of them in Snowy Escape, Eco Lifestyle. I have kind of said that this Create Sim definitely has similar vibes to all three of those packs. So if you don't get a lot of use out of those Create Sim, I kind of doubt you'll get like a lot of use out of this Create Sim as well. I think again for the bottoms, my favorites are kind of like the loose shorts, just because I use those in like sleepwear. I think that they are quite versatile, and because it is basic, I guess you could class this as versatile. Like you could probably use these in a number of circumstances. It doesn't just have to be for outdoors wear, but that is predominantly what the like inspiration I feel behind this was. I really dislike the full body outfits. Speaking my truth, I am probably not going to touch any of these. I already feel like we kind of have like better pinafores in the game. There's a couple of like wraparound dresses, which I'm really not a fan of. I'm not a fan of like how the full body fits. The only two that I can see myself getting use out of for the feminine full body are the two swimsuits. I really like the like long sleeve kind of wetsuity type thing, like the really light wetsuit, and also the traditional swimsuit. Then for accessories, like I said, a lot of these are unlocks to do with archery, so you can have like gloves. I will also show off the unlocks towards the end of this video, more so when I'm like giving my thoughts and feelings and opinions. You will see those unlocks, so definitely make sure you tune into the end if you actually want to see those. There is a cheat, it's just the CAS unlock cheat, which I can post in the description down below. If you just like fill in the gap with EP20, which is absolutely wild to say. I cannot believe that we are on EP20. And then the shoes, again, I don't really feel like this Create Sim is a standout for me. I think probably my favorite shoes are the like chunky sliders, just because I don't really feel like we have a lot of those, even though we have been getting sliders more frequently. But I'm not the biggest fan of this Create Sim. You might be, and I'm not here to change anyone's opinions. If you feel like you've been missing some of this stuff in Create Sim, let me know in the comments down below. Moving on to the masculine Create Sim, just as a formal warning, there is a lot of crossover between feminine and masculine this time around. If you are not a fan of that trend, I don't think this is going to be the Create Sim for you. Hairstyles, hands down, I think probably are some of my favorite items that we have in this Create Sim. I really like the hairstyles. So for the masculine Sims, we get 7 new hairs, 1 new facial hair, which isn't this one that I currently have on my Sim. It's actually just a mustache, but obviously I will show it to you. 5 new hats, 3 of them again are unlocks, but no swimming cap for the masculine Sims, which feels very odd. Don't ask me why they didn't get a swimming cap. 3 head accessories, 1 pair of glasses, 2 necklaces. One of them is actually a bandana, which is unlockable through the career. Once again, don't know why that wasn't available for feminine Sims. Maybe they thought it would like cut into the feminine like tops a little bit too much. I think I actually forgot to show off those accessories, so I do apologize. Then they get 19 tops. One of them is an unlock from Imaginary Friends, 9 bottoms, 6 full body, 3 outfits, 3 of them are imaginary friend unlocks, 6 accessories, which are all the same as the feminine, and then 4 pairs of shoes, which are again the same. I do like the walking boots. I feel like we needed a new pair of like good walking boots, and this pack kind of comes through on that. I particularly really like the cream swatch. I really like when boots have a lighter swatch on them, even in real life. I will say I do think this creator sim has good quality. I think the attention to detail, also some of the materials, I like the kind of fleece material that I'm fairly sure the jacket has, and also one of the like fleecier tops. I think those are really nice. I do also really love that the hairs have like a 70s style, specifically for the masculine sims. The hairs feel very, very 70s, and I feel like build and buy mode had a lot of like 70s influence, less so with like wallpapers, but just more with like the decorations and the color palettes. There were a lot of like wood tones and then oranges and yellows and reds, which always gives me like 70s vibes. But I wish Creator Sim had gone more in a 70s direction. I know they were kind of focused on like the outdoorsiness, the like camp of it all, and I don't mean like camp in the great way, I mean like camp in the outdoorsy way, but it just feels like they could have gone with more of an influence and carried that 70s theme over. Even if they had gone for like an outdoorsy 70s theme, there's a little vest top in the kids category which kind of has that vibe about it. The denim shorts, again, probably one of my favorites, but that is what I would have liked to see a little bit more of, rather than just like generic outdoorsiness that definitely doesn't feel like 70s influence to me. And really quickly, I think some of my favorites from the masculine creator sim are, again, the camp tops. However, I do wish that especially for like the teens and ups, they had given us a faded swatch of all of the camp tees so that it looked like they went to camp when they were younger, and then maybe if they went back as camp director or they just wanted to like help out at the camp as a counselor, they could wear their like faded tee and it would have memories of them going to camp. I really love the denim shorts, that's not surprising, but I do not like the men's full body. I think I generally prefer the like masculine creator sim over the feminine, but like I said, there's an awful lot of overlap between the two. For the kids, I never really differentiate between the feminine and the masculine tags because all of these clothes fit the exact same, all of the hairs fit the exact same way. There are a couple that are specifically tagged for masculine that won't appear in feminine, and the other way around. They have 9 hairs in total. Again, you have that like pegacorn unlock, which is hilarious because there's not like a kid version of that pegacorn. I guess you could maybe like age one up into a teen and have them be real and then age them back down, and someone might do that in the gallery. So if you do want a kid size like imaginary friend but have them to be real, I guess that's the loophole, but technically through gameplay they can only be real as a teenager. Enough about that though. We got 6 hats for the kids. 2 of them are unlocks. You have that mask from paper crafting again, and you have the imaginary friend hat. 1 head accessory, which is the little bandana, so that's actually unlocked for kids. Like any child sim can have that. Obviously they can't be in the career, so that's just available from the get-go for them. 8 tops in total, 5 bottoms, 4 full body outfits, 7 accessories. Again, you have those unlock of bracelets and the gloves. There are a set of leggings. They're technically not leggings, they are plasters. They're not in like the full body like stickery category that was introduced for fairies. They are just under leggings. And again, the pair of socks and then 2 shoes for the kiddos. So there are 42 items in total when it comes to the kids. Overall, I have to say, I think I like the kids the best. And that's kind of surprising because I feel like the kids really isn't different from like a lot of stuff that we do already have in the game. I feel like they give us joggers an awful lot when it comes to children. Annoyingly, and I don't know who decided this, they didn't give us the denim shorts, like the frayed cut off denim shorts. They didn't size those down for children. They gave gave us the like sporty little like 70s athletic ones and the skort, which I am quite glad about. Again, there's a big crossover between the adults and the kids. I think the full body outfits are my favorite for the children, specifically the one with the cardigan. I think that is so cute, and I know I am gonna get so much use out of it. I just love the colors on it. Some of the other full body outfits remind me of island living. Obviously there is like water sports, so that kind of makes sense, but even the like little wraparound dress kind of gives me like island living cut. But yeah, I'm fairly sure kids have like 2 pairs of denim shorts in the whole of the Creator Sim catalog. One of them has a tail stuck to them in Werewolves, and then the other one I'm fairly sure was like introduced in Growing Together, or a pack that we got quite recently, and I'm just a little bit sad that we didn't get those denim shorts for children. I do like the plasters. I think those are a cute little addition. Obviously they add just like a little bit of detail onto your sim if you want to tell the story of them being like accident prone, or maybe just like very active. As a kid, I was running around on gravel, playing football, you know, falling over in school. I pretty much always had a plaster on my body. And then the toddlers and the infants get nothing. They do get something, but it is the bare bones of Creator Sim. They have 3 hairs that have kind of just been taken from the kids. I really do like the braids. I think the kind of like squishy blocks that they've used, the beads, they seem like really child friendly, because you know when kids like swing their heads around, beads can sometimes hurt their faces, so they definitely have that texture of like the rubber beads, which I think is a really nice little attention to detail. The toddlers get a tie-dye top, which again, I looked at this, I was like, this is about kids camp. Like, one of the biggest things I remember from summer holidays and being a child was doing tie-dye in my garden with my parents. I was absolutely shocked that kids didn't get a tie-dye, but then toddlers did. Like, this is the thing, they could have focused more on like a retro-y like vintage. I know tie-dye isn't like retro or vintage, but you know what I mean. They could have focused way more on like the 70s or like 90s, and they just didn't, and it just seems like such a missed opportunity when we already have like so much athleisure wear. And I'm not even saying that they needed to get rid of all of that. Obviously it makes sense for the pack, but they could have definitely given us just a good mix, and I feel like we did not get that. But for the rest of the toddlers, sorry I got distracted, 5 tops, 2 bottoms, 1 full body outfit, 1 set of shoes, and then for infants we only got 1 full body outfit. No new hairs, nothing. Infants are the forgotten life stage, and you are all like, Molly, why are you such a downer about preteens? Molly, why do you not want preteens? Why are you so against preteens in The Sims 4? I'm like, infants are the blueprint. Like, you think they're gonna add a new life state into the game, and they're gonna be able to catch up with the number of assets that all the other life stages have? Like, toddlers have it pretty bad in the game, but they do kind of have gameplay, I feel, that like makes up for their lack of Creator Sim. Infants haven't had a new hairstyle pretty much since like Growing Together, I'm fairly sure, or at least like Horse Ranch. It's been a very long time, and they get crumbs every single Creator Sim. Why do you think that preteens and a whole new like exoskeleton in the game is actually going to be focused on? You're wrong, I don't want preteens, and that is one of the biggest reasons why. All in all, when it comes to how I feel about this Creator Sim, I don't think it's anything special, but I am talking from a privileged perspective of someone who happens to own all of the packs. Who do I think this Creator Sim was made for? Obviously it was made for a focus on like the new activities that we have and like being outdoors. I understand that, and I understand that we have to look at Creator Sim like on the theme of the pack and also in the world as well. I've had that call out recently in my comments where sometimes I don't really think about like Creator Sim in terms of the world that it is in, or kind of the like geography that it was inspired by, which I do also think plays a role in Creator Sim. So obviously the world was based on New Zealand. I definitely think this fits the theme when you think about the pack. I just kind of think that they hit the mark on that more like retro stuff and like vintage 70s to 90s theming king in a lot of other different ways. I think the hairstyles in particular, the masculine hairstyles really hit that. Even like the facial hair with like the mustache. Like when I was seeing the trailers, I was like, oh yeah. And even some of the colors. I will say, I think some of the swatches on Creator Sim do actually give that vibe. Obviously, a lot of the swatches are made for like blending in to the outdoors, which again makes sense if you think about like blending in with your surrounding to catch butterflies and be able to sneak up on these insects and kind of exploring and camouflaging yourself into the world. I understand all of that, but I just wish that they had lent on that inspiration a little bit harder, because it felt like they lent on it for build and buy mode and they also lent on it for the hairstyles, but they did not lean on it like barely at all for Creator Sim. I think it's okay for cold weather outfits. I think maybe if you don't have the packs, I'm thinking like Snowy Escape and stuff of that nature, that doesn't really give you a lot of outfits or like choice for cold weather fits. Like maybe you are playing with base game and a couple of other packs that you don't really feel like you have a lot of outer layers, then this might be a good Creator Sim for you. If you actually go to the cold weather tag, a fair amount of this Creator Sim is actually tagged as cold weather, so you might feel like you get a fair bit of use out of that. However, I will say it has much less layers than Snowy Escape. It kind of feels like a more camping, maybe summertime cold weather than an actual full-on, you know, you are in a blizzard. And it does snow in this new world. There's a lot of like jumpers that come with it and like 1 or 2 layers, but your Sims aren't completely bundled up. It feels like it has way more of a summer theming to me than it does a cold weather theming. Of course, because of the big crossover between masculine and feminine, a lot of the assets do work on both frames. However, there were a couple of masculine bottoms that I actually put onto my feminine frame, and they had the same issue that a lot of the older clothing does, where the crotch kind of is very, very defined and kind of goes inward on the feminine frame. There was a specific pair of shorts that were doing that, and it's also quite limited. I feel like not everything in the masculine catalog would pop up for the feminine frame, which definitely felt more limited, but maybe they did that because some of the assets already had a crossover in the catalog. I think this may be the biggest crossover that we've had between genders, and I know that that doesn't go down well for people who want more masculine assets, because they already feel like we don't have enough masculine assets in the game, and now it's like, oh great, like they just have the same as feminine and it doesn't feel individual. I am in that camp. I would much prefer it for them to feel individual and not have much crossover, but still work well on the frames. And I know that is more work, but speaking my truth, I would much prefer that. That kind of wraps up my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts about this Creator Sim. Let me know what are some of your favorite pieces. What do you maybe think is a missed opportunity? What do you kind of wish that we had? Do you think it feels too similar to some of the stuff that we already have, or do you think it's going to supplement your game quite nicely? The quality was there, like I said. I think what is there is done well. I just don't think there's enough of a variety for me personally, and I definitely don't think it's a standout Creator Sim. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for tuning in. My cross-pack gameplay, big props to every single one of you who has asked very specific questions about the cross pack. I am going to be doing some digging, I'm going to be doing some investigating, and hopefully I have that video up either Tuesday or Wednesday. Probably most likely it is going to be Wednesday. Continue to leave your questions about cross pack compatibility down below. It really helps when I'm making that video and I can just do like thorough investigations for you lot. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I also have my gameplay overview up, my World and Townies overview up. They're both going to be linked at the end of this video, so if you want to go check them out. I feel the love when you lot are like, I appreciate the detail and the depth and the work that's gone into this. Trust me, I hear it. I love you all very much, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.